This just got very interesting as Peter Laviolette officially scratched one of the Rangers' top players against the New Jersey Devils. It has fans and media wondering what the future holds for the Rangers star and if he was held out of that game due to trade-related reasons. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers, it's free. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, the New York Rangers faced off in a weird afternoon game just before Christmas here against the New Jersey Devils, and one of the biggest storylines heading into this game is earlier this morning it was announced that Kreider was apparently the healthy scratch in New Jersey. And obviously they had a few other roster and lineup changes with Zach Jones coming in for Rudwedel, which, Rudwedel did not have a great showing in yesterday's game. But on the second half of a back-to-back, Chris Kreider is scratched for the New York Rangers. And I didn't realize this, but obviously he's out in the second half of a back-to-back, but he only has 2 goals in his last 13 games and obviously has not been putting assists together this season. So clearly they need more out of him. I mean, he's supposed to be one of their top guys. They definitely need more out of this player. And now when you look at, his stats so far this season, he, again, 11 goals this season. He only has 2 in his last 13. He's playing a lot of ice time. A lot of Rangers fans are getting disgruntled. And even me, when I watch the games, I'm kind of puzzled because why is this guy and like Mika Zibanejad being put on the ice in late game situations to try and tie a game, for example, like yesterday, or try to get a goal on the board late in the game, and you're putting these guys out there and they're not producing. So I think a lot of Rangers fans are pretty disgruntled with this player, the top players on the Rangers. And again, only 12 points so far this season. His goal pace is still, somewhat on pace to what, Rangers fans would really know him to do. 11 goals in 30 games so far, but it's the rest of his game. It's not really well rounded out this season. And again, he only has 12 points on the season, so they need more out of him. And when asked, Peter Laviolette said that, it was just, he said that it had nothing to do with any trade-related reasons. And this quote was from him after the game. Anytime you talk to a player about not being in the lineup, it's never an easy conversation. At the end of the day, we're not playing the brand we need to play in order to be successful. And he's a guy that we count on to help deliver that. For me, those conversations aren't easy, but it's a decision that I made tonight. So he finally, and I feel like Rangers fans have been clamoring for Peter Laviolette to either bench or scratch a top guy instead of a guy like Capo Caco a few nights ago or a few games ago, and then he ends up getting traded. Now, obviously, there's a roster freeze right now. There's a holiday roster freeze, so the Rangers won't be able to make a trade for another couple days still. And I wonder if this had anything to do with that. Let me know in the comments if you think, this is more of roster management, maybe keeping him out of the game due to, maybe so he doesn't get injured. Maybe there's a deal, agreed to in principle that they're going to, release to the public, I guess, after the holiday freeze. Personally, I think this is absolutely what Peter Laviolette is saying it is. He's not producing at the level he needs to and that the team needs him to, and he had to scratch this player. He had to scratch this player today to send a message to the rest of the team. He should have done this with a top guy like Kreider or even Zibanejad a long time ago, and if he continues to do this, I think it's going to continue to send a message. Now, what message is that sending? I'm not sure, because again, at the end of the day, the New York Rangers lost 5-0 to the New Jersey Devils today, and there is a lot to pick from any of these stat lines. We obviously saw Sam Carrick get into a fight, try to inject some life into the team late in the first period when they were only down 1-0. The game really got out of hand after that. So he's trying to inject some life in a fight with Brandon Dillon. That didn't work. We'll get into that in a second. He also tried, Peter Laviolette, this is, switching up the power play units, which is something I've been talking about the last couple of videos. He was kind of forced into doing it in this game, but again, he did it. Berard getting time on power play 2, Edstrom getting time on power play 2, which was interesting. Very weird unit, but again, with Kreider out, he had to kind of mix things up a little bit, and this is what I've been talking about. You need to. Cooley should be seeing time on power play 1. Lafreniere, right? Like, these are the things that I can't understand why he hasn't switched up yet. He is really, I'm only seeing a turning point with some of these things in this game against the Devils, and again, it results in a 5-0 loss to the Devils. Not only that, I mean, this is a pretty embarrassing game. You lose 5-0 to the Devils on the second half of a back-to-back right before Christmas. Things are not going in your favor. The New Jersey Devils on their video board at a TV timeout are playing the infamous video. We don't have to get into it, but obviously the infamous video. Then it cuts to Jack Hughes on the bench and he's smiling. I mean, this is just rock bottom. The Rangers hit rock bottom, I think, a couple games ago already. This is something else at this point. They need something to pull them out of this. This is tough. And we'll get into some quotes in a second. But again, head coach Peter Laviolette on the scratching of Chris Kreider specifically. It was just a lineup decision. We just need more. And while I do think he is telling the truth, I wonder if, sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. I wonder if there will be a trade after the deadline. As much as I don't like to see or won't like to see Chris Kreider go, maybe it is time for a bit of a retool for the New York Rangers. They need a big move to get this team going again because they are getting older. So it's going to be interesting. Again, let me know in the comments what you think about Chris Kreider potentially being moved and obviously being scratched officially in this game. I thought it was a very interesting move and one that was long overdue, honestly. I think a couple more guys deserve to be scratched in the next couple games when they come back from the holiday break, but very interesting. And another thing I wanted to get into is some of these comments from some of the players. And again, this was yesterday, but this has been a reoccurring theme. This is from Braden Schneider. We just weren't able to execute the plan that we wanted to in the second. They're a team that comes in waves. Again, he's talking about the Carolina Hurricanes. You got to expect that. We weren't able to break that up and get back to our game. I thought they kept on going. They kept on going downhill when we needed to get a stop in our end, and we just keep playing simple in their end. I think that was the thing. But anyway, you get the gist of it. I mean, you have to start playing your game, and you can't go like extended periods of time like Peter Laviolette says here in the second period where you got one shot on goal, right? We didn't get the puck to the next level in the second period. I thought the battles went their way, right? So I mentioned in my video yesterday, there's a couple puck battles yesterday where you win, and I'm like, okay, these are encouraging signs. They're actually fighting for the puck, and statistically on the impact charts, Ryan Lindgren had the best game for the Rangers yesterday, that's kind of insane considering the season and how it's gone so far. But again, I thought it was an encouraging sign, but you got to win more puck battles. You have to be more engaged in the game. They're not doing stuff like that. And it leads to things like this, like healthy scratches, changing up the power play. Finally, though, right? So I wonder if more of this will come after the holiday break, and I wonder if more changes are going to come heading into January because, Chris Drury said he's not done. He wants to make more moves. He wanted things to calm down after the Jacob Trouba trade, which at this point was earlier this month already. Seems just like yesterday, but again, it seems like more moves are coming. It's going to be very interesting. And let me know in the comments what you think, because I think that changes are coming in a big way because it's just a compete level. And I don't think it's the coach. Been saying that a lot on the channel. I don't think it's the coach. I think Peter Laviolette is stubborn to a degree, and he hasn't changed things, and he hasn't scratched top guys until today. But I think more messages need to be sent. And to put out an effort like that, I know it's the second half of a back-to-back, but to put out an effort like that right before Christmas against the New Jersey Devils is very unfortunate. And I'm not going to dump on, he wasn't great either, but Jonathan Quick, because he has been good at times and won this team games this season. So I'm not going to, get into Jonathan Quick. I think he's been fine at times this season. But to put on that type of a performance with these stakes, I guess there's no stakes right now, but you know what I mean, right before Christmas against the New Jersey Devils. It's a little bit embarrassing, and I think Rangers fans are getting a little bit fed up. But let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.